Buddhism looks at loneliness. In the modern world, people are more connected than ever, yet loneliness quietly spreads like a shadow across human hearts. Many feel isolated even in crowded places or empty despite having family and friends. Buddhism doesn't reject loneliness or label it as something negative. It looks deeply into it with compassion and wisdom. In the Buddhist view, loneliness can become a teacher, a mirror that helps us understand our true nature and awaken inner peace. The Buddha taught that all feelings arise due to causes and conditions. Nothing exists independently. Loneliness, too, is not a fixed state. That appears when our mind clings to attachment, desire, and self-centeredness. We feel lonely when we depend on others for validation, or when we lose someone or something we identified with. But when we observe it mindfully, loneliness becomes an opportunity for insight. By understanding that everything, including our emotions, is impermanent, we stop fighting against loneliness and begin to see its transient nature. Take the example of a monk living alone in the forest. From the outside, it seems he must be lonely, but within the silence, he experiences harmony with the sound of wind, the rustle of leaves, and his own breathing. His solitude is not emptiness, but fullness, free from noise, comparison, and judgment. The monk is alone, but not lonely, because his heart is connected with all beings through awareness. On the other hand, someone living in the city, surrounded by people, yet restless and craving attention, may feel deeply lonely because they've lost connection with themselves. Buddhism teaches that loneliness arises from ego clinging, the idea of I as separate from the world. When we identify too strongly with this I, we create walls between ourselves and others. But the Buddha revealed that the self is not an isolated entity. Through the truth of interdependent origination, pratitya samutpada, everything exists in relation to everything else. When we see that we are not separate, loneliness softens. The trees that give us oxygen, the sun that warms us, even the food we eat, all are connected to our existence. Realizing this interbeing, we discover we were never truly alone. Mindfulness meditation offers a gentle path to transform loneliness. By sitting quietly, breathing in and out, and simply observing our emotions, we stop running away. Instead, we hold loneliness with awareness, like holding a crying child. Gradually, it loses its sting. What remains is spacious stillness. In this stillness, the heart opens naturally. A person who practices mindfulness learns that loneliness can be a doorway to peace. The Buddha once said in the Samyutta Nikaya, "One who dwells mindful is never truly alone." This doesn't mean withdrawing from society, but living with awareness in every moment. Whether surrounded by people or in solitude, the awakened person feels complete. Their peace comes not from external company, but from inner understanding. A real-life example, a young woman loses her job and feels abandoned by friends. Every evening, she scrolls through social media, feeling worse. One day, she decides to try mindfulness instead. For 10 minutes each morning, she breathes and observes her feelings without judgment. Over time, she notices that the loneliness is just a wave. It rises, stays, and fades. She begins to appreciate small things, her cup of tea, morning sunlight, the sound of birds. Slowly, her heart softens. She no longer seeks to escape her solitude, but embraces it. What once felt like a heavy burden becomes a quiet space for growth. Buddhism doesn't promise to erase loneliness, but it helps us transform our relationship with it. When we see loneliness not as punishment, but as part of the human condition, compassion arises for ourselves and for others who suffer the same. Through mindfulness, loneliness becomes a fertile ground for understanding, patience, and love.